Hey everyone, welcome to vlog number 20. As many of you may or may not know, I'm in a couple of bands, and one of the tools of my trade is my beloved Rocknroller cart. I have used this thing. I use the living crap out of it. You've seen it in some of my vlogs, pushing my gear. It's a very useful tool. Well, recently a litany of gigs have forced me to push my Rocknroller cart through the grass, through the rocks, through flagstone, and the poor little wheels aren't doing so well in those environments. So I decided to look for bigger wheels for the cart. Well, I actually found that Rocknroller makes another cart, the RT version, which is sort of an off-road sort of cart. It has bigger wheels and it's a little more robust. So I started looking around. I started thinking to myself, well, I've been pushing around this R10 for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. It's been a great cart. It really has. So I thought I'll just kind of look into buying some new wheels for it. Well, there were two problems. One, the larger wheels wouldn't exactly fit on the frame because the geometry is a little different between the R12 and the R10, which is not so much an off-road cart. But that wasn't really the big problem. The problem was that the bigger wheels were really expensive. It was well over $100 for just the wheel upgrade. So I thought, well, I'll look into, alternative wheel upgrades. I looked at Harbor Freight and I looked at a couple other alternatives, and I really decided that I wanted to stick with the Rocknroller wheels. So in doing a search for wheels on eBay, I actually found a whole cart, an R12, for sale by a vendor, and apparently it had some missing parts. And so I was looking at it, and it was missing some cotter pins from what I could tell. I mean, which is nothing. And that was about it. I mean, that's all I could see from the auction. The cheapest I could find the cart was $250 online, and I basically got the cart for $120 plus $30 shipping, so $150. So it was a great deal. So I get the cart home, and of course it's missing the cotter pins, which wasn't a big deal, but it was also missing the rear wheel washers, which is kind of a big deal. You got to have the washers on there, or the wheels just directly spin on the cotter pins. We don't want that. So I looked around for washers in my garage. Though I had a ton of washers, I didn't really have any that had a large enough center hole to accommodate the large R12 wheel journal. So I decided to make my own washers. The other thing about the Rocknroller carts is they have somewhat of a design flaw, and that the handles one of the handles just flips around. I don't like that. So when you try and carry the cart, that one of the handles, it just wants to fall all over the place. No good. So I came up with a fix, which was to use a neodymium magnet. So coincidentally, I also have a lot of hard drives laying around. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but every hard drive has two awesome neodymium, or also called earth magnets, inside of them. So if you take a hard drive apart, you can recycle the aluminum. I think it gives out like 4 ounces of aluminum, and a couple of neodymium magnets and some bearings. There's some cool stuff inside of an old hard drive, but I digress. These are old customer hard drives. Why do I keep them? I'm glad you asked. Each one of these gems contains a little bit of magic. Magic, you say? Yes, they do, and I'll show you. I know what you're thinking. Well, what does this have to do with your rock and roller cart? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm about to show you. Got some strong magnets in here. Oh yeah, baby. Looky there. Now it looks like we only have two. Oh, man. So the way this works, the neodymium magnet is going to be stuck to here and it's going to hold these two parts together. Despite the overwhelming temptation to use these screw holes to screw this in, we're going to tape it because these magnets are extremely brittle. The tape actually helps absorb some of the shock because this piece might slam down onto the metal frame. And if it does that, this magnet's going to be busted into a million pieces. We're going to protect this magnet in three ways. First, we're going to tape it to this metal piece using 3M two-sided tape. Alright, that's on there good. Phase 2, we're going to wrap the magnet in black tape. Now wrap it nice and tight, baby. Nice and tight. Alright. Phase 3, we're going to wrap this piece in green gaff tape. The green gaff tape will serve two purposes. It'll act as a marker to show us which side the magnet is on, and it'll also act as a buffer to ensure the magnet doesn't get cracked. Alright, there we go. Perfect. Now it can slam, and it's not going to destroy the magnet. And it's got good holding power, but pretty easy to pull off. Sweet! The bond was a little strong, so I added a little more gaff tape to the handle here. Now it's perfect. It holds, but it's easy to pull off. Perfect. Now the rock and roller cart works the way it should. Dear Rock and Roller Company, you should put neodymium magnets on all your carts. If you guys recall last episode, we got some pretty good work done on the Civic. Alright, good day today. We got the water pump installed, we got the motor mount installed, we got the crank seal installed, and we got the timing belt installed. So, that's a good day today. Next on the list, adjust the valves, install the valve cover, enjoy the drama. Alright, today is Valves Day. I'm going to do the valves, and I might do one of the air conditioning hoses. It needs an O-ring. I got to get it from my brother. It might be too late. Should be a fun day. So I'm going to do all the exhaust valves first, and then I'm going to do the intake valves. Just finished up doing number 1 and number 3, so I'm going to turn this until number 2 or 4 loosen up. Alright, so number 2 exhaust are now loose. This is supposed to be at 9 thousandths of an inch. So here's a 10 thousandths feeler gauge, and it just slips right in there. And it's got room to spare, as does this one. They're way loose, so we're gonna tighten that up. The clearance on these is 9 thousandths of an inch. So what I'm doing is I'm setting them at 8 thousandths. By combining these two feeler gauges, 6 thousandths and 2 thousandths, that equals 8 thousandths of an inch. So we're going to gauge it by this, and then once I do that, then I'm going to slip the 9 thousandths in. The 9 thousandths barely going to fit in there, and then the 10 thousandths should not slip in. If I can get the 10 thousandths in there, they're too loose. These adjust to 7 thousandths, so I need to build a set of feeler gauges for 6 thousandths, 7 thousandths, and 8 thousandths. I'll adjust with the 6. Once I tighten it, the 7 should fit through and the 8 should not. And the valves are done.